A medical clinic in a Trump voting town in Nebraska is now closing because of Donald Trump's slashes to Medicaid.
Hello, lovely humans. I'm just going to get right into it. Tell you how this is affecting my state, where the majority voted for this. Here's how these proposed budget reconciliation, I will not call it by that other freaking name, would likely impact healthcare in Nebraska.
Nebraska clinic closes. Yeah, a clinic has already closed, knowing full well of what is coming with the big bad Republican bill.
And it begins. A rural hospital in Nebraska closed, citing the upcoming bill that's going to cut health care for millions. And guess who won Nebraska in the 2024 election? Trump. So it's already hurting his supporters. It's like watching cows lining up to go to the slaughterhouse and them applauding it. Like, bro, make it make sense.
Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's kind of like we told you so, right? Oh, I love this. I like to stick it in your face and rub it in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, Nebraska is still going bankrupt. Around 2 weeks ago, I made a video about how Nebraska farmers are going bankrupt simply because they have no workers to work in their farms. Now, this time around, a clinic in Nebraska has been closed because Trump slashed Medicaid. So sad. Anyway, it is what it is, guys. Let's dive direct into the video. Credit goes to the original creators of the videos in this video. I'll be right back with more commentary.
Nebraska is probably really pissed that they voted for Trump now, huh? Because everybody that's like, no, Medicaid's not going to close clinics and Medicaid's not going to close hospitals. Ask Nebraska how one of their clinics is now being closed. Why, you might ask? Because of Medicaid cuts. Because of Medicaid cuts. And that's just the first to downfall publicly. Imagine all the small ones that's going to close without the public knowing. And yes, my face is greasy because I got on sunblock because I'm about to get outside. But listen, I'm trying to tell you, it is about to get real ugly in America. Y'all just wait and see all you nurses and CNAs and LPNs and doctors. Yeah, you might want to go look for a new job because you're about to get terminated. Thanks to Trump. Go thank your president.
I swear Nebraska is the poster child for fuck around and find out. Their first FAFO moment was when their farm workers were deported by ICE because they thought it wasn't going to happen to them. I mean, they voted for Trump, but they didn't think that they were going to come and deport their workers. And ICE is like, no, anyone that's brown, we're just going to deport them because whatever. So then, Nebraskan farms are like, wait, no, we need those people. Otherwise our farms are going to go bankrupt. And they're like, don't really care. So their second FAFO moment came today as soon as the House bill passed and Curtis Medical Center in Curtis, Nebraska announced that it's closing. And there are 6 other rural hospitals that are planning to close with these Medicaid cuts. And if you know anything about emergency medicine, whether it's a heart attack or a stroke or trauma, time is of the essence and distance is of the essence. So ultimately, yeah, people are going to die. And that's most likely going to be farmers, which are a huge group of Trump supporters. Now, don't get me wrong. The House of Representatives said, hey, we have a kitty. We're going to do a little bank to help rural hospitals. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tax state hospitals more. Well, that's not taxing the hospital. That's taxing the people that go to the hospital. So in one hand, they're going, oh, we're giving, we voted for this bill because we're giving tax cuts to Nebraskans, but then we're going to raise your taxes, Nebraskans, when you go to the hospital or you receive any services, right? It's all good. But I mean, that's for par for Nebraska, because in January they were operating with a budget shortfall of $400 million. And then they passed the budget, and now they're only going to operate at a deficit of $289 million. So, you know, it's not like anyone can do math there or run their state very well. But they seem to think Republicans are great, doing a lot for them as they run their state into the ground. Keep doing what works for you, I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
Today is going to go down as a truly sad day in American history. Trump's tax bill just passed, and I'm going to give an example of how this is already impacting communities, and specifically communities in red states that voted for Donald J. Trump. Now, let me explain. Curtis County, Nebraska is a one-hospital town. They've got one place for people to get their medical care, and yesterday, the CEO of the hospital said because the bill is passing, he will no longer be able to financially justify keeping its doors open. So people in that community no longer have access to healthcare in a close vicinity. It's really sad. And as much as I like saying FAFO, F around and find out, because this is a community and a county that supported Donald Trump 87% in the 2024 election, it really is sad because there are people that are no longer going to have access to the care that they need in a close proximity to where they live. This is just one of many areas that we expect to lose their hospitals and lose their healthcare facilities due to this bill. Some estimates say over 500 places could lose their hospitals and retirement homes, and I saw that about 6 are expected in Nebraska to close as well. This is a sad day for America, and we are going to continue to see the terrible impacts of this bill as time continues to pass on. But if you're into silver linings, there's $1 trillion in tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. Absolutely disgraceful. Everyone who voted for this bill, you should be ashamed.
I just tried to call my representative's office. It's Mike Flood from Nebraska. And it rang and then they hung up. And then I called back and it said it was busy. And so either it's actually busy and everyone and their mother is calling him, or he's specifically avoiding my call, which I wouldn't doubt. But yeah, this big beautiful bill thing is literally going to bankrupt the state of Nebraska. And actually, Aaron Parnas just posted a video about how in rural Nebraska, a clinic has already closed, I think in anticipation of this passing, because this state doesn't have the resources to go without what they're cutting in this bill. So Nebraska, where it's done and over.
Nebraska girl, what's going on? So I wanted to be a little bit nosy, and I saw this news article that Nebraska, this one county in southwest Nebraska, is closing due to Medicaid cuts. It's located in McCook County, which is also a part of Red Willow. Essentially, the CEO of the community hospital said, unfortunately, the current financial environment driven by anticipated federal budget cuts to Medicaid has made it impossible for us to continue operating all of our services, many of which have faced significant challenges for years. The Nebraska Hospital Association has been pushing back against the Medicaid cuts in the One Big Beautiful Bill as it's being considered in Congress. Mind you, Hakeem Jeffries is still currently debating this bill on the floor. Actually, not even debating yet. I think he's still in the middle of his miracle minute. So I decided to head over to Nebraska's general elections website, because everything is public information. And I did a little bit of digging. This is for Red Willow / McCook, right? This is how many registered voters they had. This is for the November 5th, 2024 election. This is from their county website, right? Look at who won. Look at the first line. My head is right here. You see it. 83% of the population of that county voted for Trump and Vance. And now their local community hospital will have to shut down. I keep asking you guys, if he steals from you, are you ready to lay him out? Because Fox told you what's going on. 16 of the elected GOP officials told you guys what's going on. Do they want to pass? Absolutely not. Are they going to pass? Of course, because they're up his ass. Unless you could stop them. They're your elected officials. They work for you, right? You going to lay down and take it? I mean, clearly you are. You already lost the hospital.
And it begins. A rural hospital in Nebraska closed, citing the upcoming bill that's going to cut health care for millions. And guess who won Nebraska in the 2024 election? Trump. So it's already hurting his supporters. It's like watching cows lining up to go to the slaughterhouse and them applauding it. Like, bro, make it make sense. It's crazy because, like, as long as they think it's gonna hurt the others, they're okay with it. Oh, what the, like, I'm lost for words.
Nebraska clinic closes. Yeah, a clinic has already closed, knowing full well of what is coming with the big bad Republican bill. When it does finally pass today, it's going to devastate these clinics across the country, and people in rural areas are going to have no access to health care. It's going to be extremely difficult as hundreds of these locations across the country close. And it's happening because Republicans voted for this. Republicans did this to Americans. So you will struggle now. Millions of you will be without any health care. Millions of you will be without health care facilities to go to. You'll have to now drive out of your way some 40, 50, 60, 70 miles or more because these clinics are going to close because of the Medicaid payments. That's right. This is brought to you by Republicans. You have no one else to blame. Republicans are doing this, and clinics are starting to close already. This is a shame, and it's going to affect millions of lives across the country.
So yesterday, Nebraska Representative Don Bacon announced that he will not be seeking re-election. But then he turned around and supported Frumpy Dump's big despicable disaster. Now, he defended the controversial bill in an interview, acknowledging concerns about the Medicaid changes while emphasizing what he sees as critical benefits for the middle class Americans. Now, we all know because of the Medicaid cuts, many rural hospitals are uncertain about their future. And that is no more true than in Nebraska, his very own state. A rural hospital has already started the process of closing down because of their funding uncertainty. Curtis Medical Center announced that they will be closing their clinic. They have proudly served the Curtis community and surrounding areas for over 30 years, providing essential healthcare services to families, students, and individuals in this rural region. But the decision to close the facility was not made lightly and followed an extensive evaluation of financial sustainability and resource allocation. The president and CEO of the hospital said, unfortunately, the current financial environment driven by anticipated federal budget cuts to Medicaid has made it impossible for us to continue operating all of our services, many of which have faced significant financial challenges for years. Don Bacon was confronted about this hospital closing, and this is what he wrote. The hospital isn't closing because of this bill. That's silly. Again, the CEO says, unfortunately, the current financial environment driven by anticipated federal budget cuts to Medicaid has made it impossible for us to continue operating all of our services. Don Bacon was not running for re-election. He can't defend the indefensible. He let his own people down because Frumpy Dump made promises to his billionaire friends that they were going to receive these tax cuts. And now, because of Don Bacon, those citizens in that area will not have access to health care. It's already started, and the bill ain't even been signed into law yet. And this is only the beginning. Just wait. Just wait. All right, players, put your thoughts in the comments. Don Bacon is a coward, and he should be ashamed of himself. But I'm not surprised by Don Bacon. He's been ridiculous all over social media, taint sniffing for Frumpy Dump for years. And it doesn't surprise me that he sucked his taint once again at the expense of his very own neighbors, his own constituents. Put your thoughts in the comments, players. This is Double D Mo for the Black Here News.
Hello, lovely humans. I'm just going to get right into it. Tell you how this is affecting my state, where the majority voted for this. Here's how these proposed budget reconciliation, I will not call it by that other freaking name would likely impact healthcare in Nebraska if it passes in its current form. Coverage in Medicaid enrollment. Up to 55,000 Nebraskans could lose healthcare coverage under the House version. Well, this has been updated a bit, hasn't it? I made this a little while ago. Nationally, the CBO estimates 7.8 fewer people on Medicaid through 2034. Nebraska shares in that loss. State funding and finance. Nebraska stands to lose roughly $4 billion in federal Medicaid money over the next decade. Cuts to state-directed payments and provider taxes means rural hospitals and nursing homes would see reduced benefits, as Nebraska will be subject to the caps. Sure, you've heard about one of our rural hospitals closing as of today. Economic impact. Nebraska's economy is projected to shrink by approximately $477 million per year at full implementation due to Medicaid cuts. The increased burden of uncompensated care and reduced state and local revenue, including potential job losses, would further strain budgets. The healthcare system effects. Hospitals, especially rural ones, I live in a rural area, would face steep increases in uncompensated care, likely causing more closures or reduced services. Example, emergency room hours. Preventative care delays, longer ER wait times, and weaker healthcare outcomes are expected, affecting both Medicaid and privately insured patients. The impact on children and families. Very rich from this administration, Census Party and their affiliated fans, as I'll put it, are so pro-life. Nearly 30% of Nebraska children rely on Medicaid. Funding cuts jeopardize access to pediatric and family health care. Additional eligibility tightening and work requirements threaten SHIP and expansion benefits. The broader consequences. State governments may need to divert funds from areas like education, infrastructure, or public safety to offset lost funding. Job losses in healthcare and supporting industries could ripple out, further weakening local economies. Doesn't this just sound great? In short, the Nebraska-specific consequences of the bill include substantial coverage losses, service reductions in healthcare, economic
I'm from Nebraska, and it's no surprise that Ricketts voted for Trump's god-awful, horribly dangerous bill. Senator Pete Ricketts used to be our governor here in Nebraska, and his family is extremely wealthy. They own TD Ameritrade, they own the Chicago Cubs, and he basically has bought off all the offices in Nebraska. How I've intersected with him is I'm a pediatrician. I've done a lot of public health, a lot of statewide work. I've been a leader in child health advocacy. I was the governor appointed under him chair of the Early Childhood Interagency Coordinating Council that oversaw the NDE, so Nebraska Department of Ed, and then Nebraska DHHS. We have Head Start, and then all of the early childhood work that was happening, all the early childhood data. And so we were an advisory board, all governor appointed from across the state, and we would meet and create a biennial report. It's legislated that we're required to do this. It goes to the governor's office. We are to present all the data of amazing stuff happening, even during COVID, okay? So what happened was he never met with me. He never met with our team. He never met with our council to go over the report, any of the early childhood data during any part of my term serving on that council or as chair. He simply completely ignored any requests we had to share our data, to share what was going on in early childhood in the state of Nebraska. He did absolutely nothing. He didn't communicate. He didn't respond to requests. And this was very unprecedented when the governors before in the past had met, and it was common practice that they, really took on early childhood and played a role even if they were Republican. Okay, so this guy does absolutely frickin' nothing, okay? This is a big deal for me to say this, okay, and to come out with this. So he does no work, he does nothing, he didn't appoint anybody while during my term and while I served on that to the council. So we were just really kind of trickling down in numbers, and it was really sad. So now he's senator. Now he's just going to go along with Trump with this horrible bill. And why would anybody be surprised? But what you might be surprised at is that he does absolutely nothing. A lot of these legislators, a lot of these political leaders, they absolutely don't do their job. They don't do any work at all. They have no interest in anything at all that's happening to children in their state. And Medicaid being cut, don't care. They absolutely do not care about children's health. They only care about profiting themselves and building up their families' exponential wealth.
A medical clinic in a Trump voting town in Nebraska is now closing because of Donald Trump's slashes to Medicaid. This is the story out of Curtis, Nebraska. The headline reading, Rural Southwest Nebraska Clinic Closes, Blaming Expected Medicaid Cuts. The McCook-based community hospital said it's now shutting down its clinic in Curtis, a town of about 900 people. The clinic has operated for more than 30 years. And importantly, it's the only healthcare provider in the community. They directly blame Donald Trump's Medicaid cuts that he's passing through the big, beautiful bill. Curtis, the town where this clinic is closing, voted for Donald Trump by a 74-point margin, 404 to 58. These are the consequences of voting for Republicans, voting for Donald Trump. Tens of millions of Americans are about to lose their health care. Clinics around the country in many places that voted for Donald Trump will close. And the people to blame are Republicans. Simple as that.
Did you all hear about the hospital in Nebraska that is going to close down because of uncertainty about funding? This is honestly super concerning, especially because this small hospital is in a remote area, and for many folks, it's the only one that's accessible to them. What we are seeing here is what many are expecting to be the first example of what the cuts to public funding are going to do to important services that people need. A lot of folks that are hearing about this, though, are not showing empathy because, in many ways, Nebraska voted for this. And in that county specifically, they voted overwhelmingly for the person that is promoting the cuts that are happening right now. Unfortunately, this is another example of folks voting against their interests, folks that were expecting that their living conditions, their livelihood was going to improve, and the opposite is happening. And listen, y'all, I understand why a lot of folks don't have empathy, but I feel bad for these folks because the system that we're living in over and over again keeps hurting the folks that are the most marginalized. But those are my thoughts, familia. I want this to be a conversation. What do you all think about this? Do you agree with what I said? Or are you on the side that doesn't feel any empathy for these folks? And if you are somebody that lives in Nebraska, what do you think about this? This is crazy.
Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's kind of like we told you so, right? Oh, I love this. I like to stick it in your face and rub it in. It's kind of like, when Trump was telling everybody he was going to come after the undocumented people in this country that were working hard and deport them, that they would kind of move to a state they felt safe in. And apparently, Nebraska wasn't one of them. They packed up their stuff and they headed on out to a state that would welcome them with open arms. So now you're going bankrupt. And as somebody that lives in a blue state, I could give a shit less. Boo-hoo. Oh, and I can't wait for the hated comments. I can't wait for it. You voted for this! You voted for this! And now you're getting it. So why are you mad at us? We didn't vote for this. Nope. We voted completely against this. You voted for this. I better not get one BS comment. Not one. Not one. Oh, how mean you are. The stink. You're so mean. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not mean. I'm just giving you what you wanted. You wanted this. You voted for it. You made your bed. Now lay in it. Have a day.
Welcome back. Yeah, so Nebraska is still going bankrupt. This is because they voted against their personal interests. Nebraska farmers going bankrupt because they have no workers to work in their farms. This is because they voted for the deportation of the workers. They voted for the deportation of the illegal migrants, and their workers are the illegal migrants. Now they are going bankrupt. Leave alone the Nebraska farmers. A clinic in Nebraska has been closed simply because Trump slashed Medicaid. And that's so sad because to Nebraska citizens, to Nebraska people, this is what you voted for. Because black people tried to warn you, black people warned you against all this, but you people never listened. This is because you only wanted to punish the black people. Racism is expensive. They warned you against voting for Donald Trump, but you people still went ahead and voted for him. Now you are facing the consequences of the actions you did. You are going bankrupt. No workers to work in your farms. The clinic in Nebraska has been closed, and it's so sad. Yeah, so guys, if you could have listened to black people, maybe things could have been better. But because you people never wanted anything to do with the black people, you can see what is happening. Yeah, so guys, let me know what are your thoughts about this down in the comment section. And until the next video, for now, goodbye.